fattiga eller fiannet.
This is Robbie of the CD, Mr. Bruno's Top Talent. Hasta las piedras cantan por Telemundo.2. And today I have the pleasure, I have the honor of having these three talented artists that are going to blow your mind. I just love the way you guys make music because it's like a mix of theatrics, a little bit of music, a little bit of ritual. But anyways, before we get into all that, I want to introduce para el pueblo de Puerto Rico, the one, the only, Heilung.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much for that introduction. We're happy
It's a,
to be on the show.
I'm so glad to have you here. It's a pleasure. So, first things first, in what moment of you guys' life did you feel a calling to do music? Was it by chance you were singing by yourself and you're like, yo, I'm good at this? Was it a school event or is it you went to somebody's concert and you were like, I can do exactly what they're doing on stage?
It's three very individual stories. So let's start with Chris.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I started playing an instrument before I learned how to speak, and I'm kind of still working on the speaking part. But next to that, I had music in my life all my life, and I don't think I started playing music in terms of mimicking anyone on a stage, anything like that. I actually just did it because it became kind of my language to do so.
So it was something that it's like innate. It was born inside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that music in many ways is a language that we maybe have been losing over time. And but maybe if you turn back time far enough, then you know, there's a reason why certain elements in music speaks to everyone. I believe I think it becomes something from a language that we all come from in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's called a universal language.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. And for me, I discovered it when I was 11. Somebody was playing a djembe at the Viking market, and I got completely hooked on the beats and knew I just had to try to play the drums. And he was very kind, the man who played and let me play his drum, and I just knew how to do it, which was an epic discovery when you're 11 and you think you suck at everything, and then you find something that you actually master. So it wasn't before many years later that I discovered that I had a voice, and that's a lifelong journey of getting to know that instrument. So yeah, I'm very grateful for the journey with Heilung and the other projects that is in my life, because it's so many different ways of expressing yourself through the vocals.
That is correct. Totally correct. And that's insane. So you started with the drums, and then, in what moment did you realize that you had the voice to sing?
When I was around 18, I was playing drums with a bunch of guys from Norway, and they were playing drums and singing, throat singing. So there was some similarities there. But then they were like, "Oh, it would be so cool to have like a song." And actually, I remember them saying, "Oh, you're a girl. You must know how to sing."
Oh, you're like, what?
I know, right? But I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I tried, and I found this small little voice, very low, very soft. But they played many drums and were being loud. So I had to find, had to find the volume button. So that was fun too, and a very, very hard road actually to dare to trust yourself enough to really go for it.
That's true, especially when you sing so high tone. You have to really believe in yourself, because now you're gonna do what we call in Puerto Rico el gallito, and you're like, oh, oops, my bad.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and for Kai, it's a completely different story on how you found music.
Yeah, well, I was always exposed to music, of course, like already from my childhood on. So my family had a piano that was in possession for a long time. even during the war, saved, took it apart with a chainsaw when he was drunk.
Were you there?
Does it sound
No. It was beautiful piano. Yeah. And like my dad and his twin brother, they even played with 4 hands on it and everything. But like when I actually I started singing out of myself really well, like after my teenage years, when I started to dive into core shamanism and to realize that music can also be medicine. And from then on until my 30s, I was convinced that, you know, like it was medicine, but it was bitter. It was not beautiful. But with Heilung and especially with Christopher's encouragement, I actually made it on stage with my singing voice, right?
So you found it out later on in life then as well.
That it was usable for something else than like making people, calming people down, or like, you know, transporting medicine.
we always find our calling sooner or later. Sooner or later, we will always find our calling.
Yeah, true.
So Heilung is a German noun, which in English means healing. So for the fans of the Caribbean and Latin America that may not know much about the band, how would you explain your music, the lyrics, and like, what does the band stand for you?
You want me to take it?
Yeah.
Okay, Heilung means healing or cure, and that is basically also the what we stand for, what we do in the end. You know, because like that is what we sign up for basically when we come somewhere, to like really bring good energy to the place and like help people progressing and have a good time and like heal in a way, right? The style of the music, when we had to register the band in the beginning, they had all this like heavy metal, jazz, rock, pop, all of this, and then we read all through it and we realized, okay, nothing is fitting, right? But then like the last column, it says something else, and then we crossed something else, and then it said describe, and we put
right, there was a hard part.
Yeah, we put the words in amplified history, because like that's also our lyrics. So the majority of our lyrics, they're either from history or describing events in history. And amplifying is that is what we do. We show up with amplifiers, and everything goes through amplifiers.
It has to be. What happens if you take a history book through an amplifier, right? It gets louder, I guess. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you guys put others, I have seen that different sites have like different like explanations. Some says folk, some says rock. What of all of those do you think is the one that expresses yourselves the best?
None of them. That's the thing, right? I guess you could put more words on it. Like we could also just say a hippie drum circle on steroids. That could also be a description. It could be shamanic workers with a cable. But I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway, because what we are trying to achieve here is a sort of what you can call a multi-art form project also, right? So we use different types of media and we combine it. So live, for instance, it's not only like a concert you are gonna go and watch, it's also a ritual, right? That is the main purpose of what we are doing, right? And we use theatrics even though no one is acting on stage, right? And so on. And when we release music, it also is accompanied with artwork that we are drawing into books, and it's down to the very rune fonts that is being made by us. So we try to combine different types of media into one landscape that is Heilung, so to say, and it's not just one genre or something like that. And we also very, very purposely try not to, right? For instance, I read a review once. It was in the very beginning when we made the first album, and I think the reviewer was like, it felt, everything on the first album felt like one big intro for a metal album or something like that. Yeah, because when does the guitar start, right? And of course they don't, right? So if we start to label ourselves into this kind of thing, people will maybe get disappointed. So we are amplified history. This is the genre we've chosen for ourselves.
Okay, so you guys are so incredibly awesome that you guys created your own genre.
We had to.
There wasn't like
We were not inspired by other bands for this, you know.
it isn't jazz. It isn't. Yeah, prehistoric folk, tribal are also words that I have heard being used for it, because it's also like the whole tribal genre basically is a lot about drum beats that with the purpose of also elevating you to a higher a different state of mind, right? And that's absolutely a big point of our rituals. We aim to consciously alter your state of mind.
That's so beautiful. Is it insane to you guys that you go to an area of the world where they don't know absolutely nothing but a certain language? Like you go somewhere they only speak English or they only speak Spanish, and they come out and sing exactly the same words that you guys are singing. Is it insane to you guys to hear that?
Yeah, it's so
That's
beautiful.
incredible.
Yeah. We just got shown a video from Red Rocks where we played 2 years ago, and there were 10,000 people in the audience, and you can hear everybody chanting one of our songs, and it's so loud that it's echoing through the cliffs of the stage, and you just think, whoa, how many different nationalities and cultures are gathered here today, and they are just all, you know, reciting these ancient poems in a dead language that no one understands, but yeah, we all feel it.
If the people that made that little stone in Scandinavia where the lyrics is on got to hear it, I think they would be pretty proud at that moment.
No, obviously. If there would be some way to time travel, they would be in this time saying, thank you, you're keeping us alive.
Be there.
Yeah,
they might have been there, you know.
Might have joined, yeah.
It kind of like imagine you wrote your name, you know, on your door, and maybe the name of your dog and your wife or something, you know, and then 2,000 years later it's found by aliens or something, and everyone is like screaming whatever they think it says on it, right?
And they're probably like, this is a god, and this actually was you.
Yeah. But wouldn't you kind of turn yourself in your grave and be a little bit proud if that happened?
Obviously, but we'd probably be almost dust and all that, so we'd be like molecules going crazy inside the box, like, oh my God!
Vibrate.
So how much does spirituality influence in your music, if by chance there is a little bit of it?
Oh, more than a little bit.
I mean, like I would say it is at least the root, right? So like, of course there's a lot of playfulness and a lot of freedom, and like Heilung by now is so big. I mean, like when we're touring, it's like 30 people, and everyone has its own approach to it, like experiences his or her own little world in it. But like when it comes down to it, like from the beginning, that the first song, for example, is a song that I was always chanting when I was making rituals, when I had the healing sessions with people and everything. That is what is my medicine song, you know, like, and it always has been. And of course, like when you look at it closely, that medicine song is only part of it, because like when the chanting is done, then Maria takes over, right? But still, like that part that Maria sings when we were recording it, you know, we were really deep into it, and she came into the room and she basically did a one take, you know, and
Whoa.
like it was put in there without like big re-recording it and rewriting it and revisiting it, you know. So like I would clearly say that the root of the project is definitely a spiritual root.
Definitely.
That's amazing. I always had the feeling, because the last time I was like hearing the songs, I was running, because I was trying to do a lot of cardio to get in shape and all that, and just hearing the song just pumped me to the point that when the song finished, I almost fainted because I ran too hard and I didn't even realize it. Nice. And I was like, whoa, this is you can feel it like an energy flowing all through you that just helped me keep running. The song finished, I hit the floor and I'm like, I look at the clock, I'm like, oh my God, I was running for like 45 minutes. I didn't even realize it.
Which song was that?
It was I'm terrible at the names. It's of the last album. It starts with like this little kids chanting.
Oh, Tenet.
Tenet. You're running.
The song was long. I'm like, it's gonna finish here, and I'm like, oh wait. So when it was done, I was like,
yeah, I feel you. When the beat starts there, it's just boof, boof, boof. You're driven. You cannot stop that.
I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I almost re-injured my knees, but it was an experience, and I'm glad that you guys. There's something that I want to say that I'm glad that you guys are doing this kind of music. I was talking to Carlos, my brother, that sadly, I'm a singer as well, and sadly, I've seen that music has lost that touch of discovery, has lost that spirit of creating something unique, and it's all been like recycled. Oh, this guy did something and it's working with him, so it's like a stepping stone. Everybody does something. So when I finally heard you guys, I was like, yo, this is like me. This is something that more people need to listen to. This is something that should be in more ears. Sadly, we were born in the wrong era. I'm sure we were born like 50, 60 years ago. We'd be bigger than Michael Jackson and all those guys. But I'm so glad that you guys do this kind of music. Really, I'm really glad.
I have a comment on this, and thank you. So one, I think one place actually to break that cycle, and it's something I want to encourage because there's many good musicians out there, right, and many good songwriters. One thing is just if you think about it, what is a genre? A genre is a repetition of a sort, right? Exactly. I mimic whatever other people are mimicking within a thing, right? So if we start stopping actually labeling music and just say I do art or I do music, it could all of a sudden create a lot of freedom to yourself on what you want to express, right? And in that way, no one is listening to whatever you're doing with any pre-thoughts on what it would be, and that way you can maybe just hit something human. And I think also I see other bands and other artists starting to go that route. But this is one of the reasons why we went all the way with just creating our own label, so to say.
Yeah, the amplified history, like you guys call it.
Yeah, it can be anything if you think about it. But true. It's also about creating something that is very human and something that is from where we come from, probably, and something that can speak to a deeper human level. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm glad you said that. For the people that are watching that are probably like telling themselves, how can I make something? How can I go against the current? Can I create something new? You can. There are claro ejemplo, like we say in Spanish. You guys are like the perfect example to use it. You can make your own kind of music, and I'm so glad you guys are doing it. So this is a question, obviously based off of what I have right here. Xbox in 2024 is going to launch Hellblade 2. The first promotional material they guys used was a song from you guys, which was insane, seeing the actress of Sanoa, Melina Juergens, lip-syncing Maria's voice. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, is it Maria or is it Melina? It blew my mind. So I want to know, in what moment did Ninja Theory or Microsoft approach you guys in the band to make this amazing crossover? Or did you guys send a sample to them and they were like, this is it?
It was very cool because we met the guys before they got bought by Microsoft when it was only Ninja Theory. And the musical composer of the first Senua Saga, David Garcia from Galicia, he approached us because he simply saw our video on YouTube and he got mesmerized. And him and Tamim Antoniades, they both came to our studio and we had kind of was it like maybe like an audition, sort of. We took them to a ritualistic place in the forest. We worked with some sounds. We went to the studio. We used the sounds. We amplified them. We put some vocals on. And in 3 hours, we'd made a piece with them in the studio together with, so they could see how we were working. And since then, the bonds were created, and we are so happy in working with these guys. They are so professional, deeply talented, very creative, inspirational process.
Wow. So in less than 3 hours, you guys had everything ready. That's insane. Because
Only
you
for
guys
that
mix.
first session.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
use so much.
That was kind of the audition thing, and then we got into the game, and yeah, we cannot say super much about it, but we have produced many
NDA.
hours. Sorry.
The
Yeah,
NDA.
exactly.
But yeah, but it is her singing on that and I think she does it wonderful.
We had a Skype session and about pronunciation and everything. So like she really put some work into it to be part of, or like to properly deliver her part of the little video there. But I mean, she, like, generally, I think it's safe to say, like, we met her a couple of times. She's a very dedicated, very hardworking woman, and like she's absolutely amazing in what she does. Really.
I did not know
And
that.
of
That's
course, there's as you hinted at before, there's a lot of things we signed with Microsoft that we cannot say, but I can tell that that it's absolutely wonderful, and there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff coming out of that topic.
2024,
Yeah,
2024.
for sure.
Hurry up and come. Hurry up and come 2024. I got to see this all in action. Definitely.
I don't know anything about this. No, we are still like
That's what they
24,
say.
but in 924 is what we're working with the most.
You're using whatever number. You just know that everything's done. So that's cool. That's cool. I have seen that Melina is very dedicated. She started taking martial arts and all that. And I'm like, from here to Hollywood, definitely. So wow, that's so awesome. I'm so glad to have had these tidbits of information that everybody that's following the game will probably go crazy to know. So there's something very important that you guys are going to start hitting soon in the States this October with the Amplified History Tour. Um, when does it start specifically in October? Do you guys remember what states you're going to be? And there's something that I really love about this, that each ticket, you're going to donate $1 to help plant trees, which is something that we should do more often because there's more trees getting knocked down than planted. So where did the idea come from, and which are the states specifically that you guys are going to be playing in?
You're thinking about the tree planting?
Yeah.
Which stage are we gonna
Okay, so
where do we start?
yeah, we start in Greensboro. It's very fitting for tree planting.
Yeah, Tanger Center in Greensboro.
Yeah. So what we do with tree planting in general, you can just go to amplifyhistorytour.com and see all our events. Right, we begin here in mid October, and it will stretch for 10 rituals during the month. What we like to do also, like when we travel with this thing, it is within the limits of what the world can provide in terms of transportation, all these things, and without going into too many details, what we like to do with that is also to give something back, and a picture I like telling people, in terms of concert is, imagine the forest of people standing in front of the stage will actually become a real forest, because every head that is there, we do donate some funds to replant trees or protect trees. And for this tour, we are doing it a little bit different than we normally do, because we want to invite the people that attend the shows or follow us to come up with ideas where that could be. That could be in a native land somewhere, where trees have been burning because of various reasons. It can be that we need to protect a piece of land from other things. I also want to put it down that what we're doing is non-political. It's not, we're not making a political statement, but everyone should like trees at this point. They eat carbon dioxide and then shit air. So what's not to like, right? So yeah, if any one of your listeners have a suggestion to where we should plant all these trees, or an area that would be worth protecting, they should contact us. And yeah, we also like to visit the places we actually help.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Just to make sure that it actually deserves all that attention.
The concept is not greenwashing here. Also, that is a concept you see a lot, right? That you just buy your way out of it. You just live as you should, right? But I mean, we are, as we talked about earlier, an advanced drum circle on steroids, right? So we are not like inventors of all the green solutions, but planting trees is something that is a wonderful thing. It's you can touch that in a way.
Okay.
It's also something, as Chris said before, it is beyond all politics, right? I mean, if you look at the tree, for example, that was planted in Germany in 1900, when that tree was 18 years old, that was when the emperor went out, and never came back. Then we had the democratic tryout that failed. Then it was the terrible wartime, and after that it was the Germany as we know it now, right? And like I always say, we don't inherit the planet from our forefathers. We borrow it from our children. And all the trees we're planting now, I mean, we will barely see them as grown-up trees. We just will not. But it will be the generations after us that will see them as proper trees, right? And they will maybe even live in political systems that we can't even figure out now how that would look, right?
Exactly, like a la Starfield. They're probably living in the stars, and the trees are growing here without us.
Yeah, maybe that even.
Maybe
no one knows.
You never know. We never know the way that the world is going. Anything's possible. One thing that I really like about your guys' show is that you guys incorporate like a lot of what the Vikingers and the shield maintenance are part of the show. It's like reliving those moments of what the past would have looked like. Where did that concept come from?
Oh, yeah. You can even take it further in a way. What would it look like today if certain elements of the past hadn't happened, right? And that is also a possibility.
It's a big part of the history of the North is that we had pagan belief system, and then the Christian belief system took over, and you can wonder, like, if we continued to just be
the
pagans,
way it was, exactly
the way it was, and worshipping the gods of the different strengths, and sacrificing to the moon on the special occasions of the year. Like, would we dance more freely? Would we sing in a different way? Would we create art in a different way? We don't know, but it's an interesting kick for the creativity to try to imagine how could it have been. Like, just playing with that thought of ways is inspiring.
Like a world without sin.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
Yeah.
That would look like something that I think I'm never gonna see. Not in these days, but it would make a lot of sense. Yeah, if the expansion of the empires had left certain areas like if, for example, in Puerto Rico, if the Spaniards wouldn't have come over here and robbed all the gold and killed all the Native Americans, because Puerto Rico, they killed them all. There was not even one left over to like continue the traditions of what it was to be in Puerto Rico. So it would have been it would have been a nice world. Sadly, empires took it.
That is exactly what happened to Europe, right? I mean, like in 805, you had King Charles the Great as a Christian ruler. He invited all the Saxon chieftains and all the Saxon leaders who were pagan at that time. He invited them for a gathering, and what he did, he just killed them all of them. And he didn't leave a single one, not a single one. And that means at that point, all the traditions of the Saxon people, they just vanished. They were Stone Age old traditions, like healing recipes, songs, dances, gone. And what we have to do nowadays is like, we have to take the knowledge of our forefathers and the medicine of our forefathers, the dances of our forefathers, the songs of our forefathers. We have to dig it up again from the ground. Like luckily they went in the graves with all the stuff that they were wearing during their lifetime. Luckily they chiseled some songs in the stones that we rediscover again now, right? And that is what we do. And that is also why we show up with spears. Of course, like we're not seriously like wanting to wage war on anyone, because like if we show up with spears, you know, of course we don't bring a knife to a gunfight, we bring a spear, but we would still be wiped out immediately, right? But the spear itself was at that time, we know that, was a sacred thing, you know. It was a thing that connected the people to the god of the wind, also to the god of the poetry, to the god of the dead and everything, you know. And the moment we bring that spear, that is a symbol, that's much more a symbol than a weapon these days, right? And that is we try to revive this healthy past, you know, this natural grown past that was so violently wiped out like many hundred or more than 1,000 years ago, right?
I think also it's important to revive the history to a modern context without bringing any blame, or, you know, because what is also important today is that we take care of our roots and we find inspiration and creativity through our past history. But it's also a very, very important message to remember that we all are brothers. Like, if we can live by this poem in this day and age, we will be such a prosperous world. And I'm completely convinced that we would be better. We would be better at everything we do if we could just figure out to live in peace.
That's a thing that a lot of special people throughout time, as Gandhi and Jesus and all these people, that's like I've always said, you know, these religious figures, what they've always tried to bring is peace. Like, that's like the forefront of everything has always been peace. But every time somebody takes it out of context and they're like, well, that's a witch, so we have to burn her, without even knowing the reason of why these people have these abilities and they have these special connections with nature. And if the world would let people be them, there would be less suicides. Like in South Korea, there's a high alert of suicides because they don't let people try to be themselves. They have to be identical to everybody else. And if you're not, then they do a lot of stuff that are so sad. And I'm glad you guys have that message. And the way you're giving the message is awesome, because we unfortunately know that nowadays kids just don't want to read. And we're losing that basic knowledge of writing, of stuff that our forefathers left us thousands of years ago, that if they wouldn't have written, we would have known nothing right now. We would just be listening to whatever propaganda we hear on the TV. So I'm glad you guys are still taking that message.
I think you're touching something important there, and that is, you know, a thing that I try to advocate a lot, and that is really, the further into yourself you look, the bigger chance you have to see how similar you are to everyone else, right? So of course, what we do in our project here has a clear Nordic perspective, right? But there's a lot of things we don't know how was exactly, or at least we haven't found anything. If you follow the idea of, if you find it in the ground, that it must be the only proof you have, right? And one place, for instance, is that we don't really find drums from the Viking period, but we are pretty sure that at least every tribal society in the world must have had drums, right? So that we borrow drums from other cultures, so to say, to and mimic it into to what we do, right? That is not a, you know, that is not to steal in that way, but it's to fill in gaps, so to say, right? And the same you can go with folklore, with stories, with music, with instruments. You know, the further back you look into history at certain locations around the world, instruments, like musical instruments, become the same, more or less. It's a resonator with a string that sounds in a certain way, and it becomes very close to each other. Same with rock carvings and folk stories. There's similarities you find many places. Something we're also portraying on our last album, Drift, where we take songs from the biggest civilizations. And what I want to say about it is that, you know, the more you get to learn about your speciality in your area where you're from, like you also find many places in, for instance, South America, you know, it's fairly similar to what happens everywhere else, right? So it's more about what actually combines us more than what it brings us apart. And that's, it's kind of healthy to look inwards once in a while, because it's kind of beautiful what is there also.
That's true. So true. I see one of you two wanted to say something. He said everything for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So last but not least, this is Real Non-Stop Talent. So we always try to do the best to sing with the talents of song of theirs. So we're gonna try very best to sing Anuana. It's just gonna be the Ale Wau part. So that way it'll be simpler and directly to the point. So I'm gonna channel my inner self because I'm from Italian and Indian descendancy. So I'm gonna try to get that outside and try to make this as awesome as possible. So whenever you're ready, at the count of three, then we'll go with the Alua and just the chorus. So that way we won't take too much time for
Yeah, Randel, let's stand up. Come
Okay.
on, let's get the chest going. Okay.
One second.
Okay, let's find the tone also. Are you ready?
Yeah.
One, two, three.
Anuana tua dale. We got it. Be back downwards.
So we now know where to call if Maria loses her voice.
Yeah.
Anytime. It would be more than an honor to ever touch stage with you guys. So anything else you want to tell the people who listen to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? Where can the fans find you guys?
Just Google Heilung, and then you will find everything you need.
That's like the easiest way.
I don't know. Come to the show.
Yeah, come to the rituals, and we are really hoping to also make a visit to the Latin American part of the continent. And we know we have many beautiful listeners there, and we can't wait to meet all of you. And yeah, see you out there.
AmplifiedHistoryTour.com. That is where you want to go.
Exactly. Forget about the Google part. Just go directly there and you'll find everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Google AmplifiedHistoryTour.com. That's how my father would do it. I'm just gonna say.
You use your inner father to give that information.
Or send a smoke signal and a pigeon. Then you will also get some answers.
No doubt. So nothing, guys. It's been a pleasure to have you guys, Christopher, Kai, and Maria. It was a pleasure to have you guys here. Then nothing, guys. It was an honor. It was a pleasure to have you guys here in Hasta las Piedras Cantan, por Telemundo.2 and on Real Non-Stop Talent, which is what you guys can see the whole thing in the media world. So nothing. It was an honor to have you guys, and I hope you guys keep breaking the boundaries and do come to Puerto Rico in some moments, so that way I don't have to travel.
Absolutely love to.
Love to.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. It's been an absolute joy talking to you.
Cool. Okay. Well then, you all take care. Many blessings.
All the best.
See you out there.
Cheers.
Bye.
Mm.